for the warm welcome here today. I will look around this laptop here for a presentation that looks like my own. Thank you very much for the warm welcome this morning. My name is Marvin Hildebrand. I'm joined here by one of my colleagues, Aaron Hunt, who is sitting near the back of the room from the trade section of the consulate, and also for now, Doshi is here, and we'll be hearing from him a bit later on, I think, as part of the morning. I'd also like to begin by thanking the organizers and recognizing the support of this mission, which is heading to Canada in a couple of months. EEPC has obviously organized this event and is organizing the mission to Canada, along with the support of the Ministry of Commerce and Industry here in India, and ICBC. We just heard about their involvement. Ramashu Vasu here with us on the podium this morning, and also Nadira Hamid sitting in the front. Here from Delhi, who is the Chief Operating Officer of the Business Chamber in India. Also the High Commission of India in Ottawa, and we have, of course, Anita Agnihotri here from the IFS, and also the India Brand Equity Foundation. And so obviously you can see it takes a lot of interest and support and effort to put this together. And we as Canadians, as the Government of Canada, and the Consulate General of Canada here in Mumbai are very grateful for all of that support, and are very pleased to see that this mission will be heading to Canada in just a couple of months. I see at the back, amongst the exhibits in the lobby, the list of missions for EEPC over seems like about a 12-month period, and it's extremely impressive to see everything that's going on in terms of the number of missions around the world. There must be a lot of people involved in organizing all of these, but in that context as well, we're very pleased that they have chosen Canada and to visit Canada, and we think, of course, that it's entirely appropriate that you do so. And so what I'd like to do my time here this morning is to look at a little bit kind of two sides of the coin here, introduction, overview pertaining to Canada, and also a little bit about Canada's presence and priorities in India. I'd also like to thank the two speakers ahead of me for their insightful observations. I will build on some of what they have said in terms of the strength of the Canadian economy, the merits of doing business in Canada, and also the negotiations that are taking place between the two governments in terms of trade liberalization. It's very, very, very good to hear others talking about those same things and to see the level of awareness that exists already. Just a bit of a quick snapshot and reminder in terms of some of the key parameters. Geographically, Canada is actually about 3 times the area of India. You could fit India into the west or the east or the north, roughly speaking. But in fact, our relatively small population of 34 million is largely concentrated within 100 miles of the Canada-U.S. border. If you look at where almost all of the major cities are, you'll find them pretty close to the Canada-U.S. border. And that, of course, has economic relevance in terms of access to the 450 million person NAFTA market that we'll come to in a little bit. GDP, interestingly, of course, India has been catching up very, very quickly in this front. And right now you'll see that based on 2010 data, it's really just about equal. And so given that India's economy is growing at around 8% and Canada's is growing at around 3%, which actually, in the context of the United States and a number of other G7 countries, or probably all other G7 countries and OECD countries, is actually quite a healthy and respectable rate of economic growth. But it's not that of India's. And so there you have it. So let's look at the sectors that we have highlighted in this slide as being the ones where we are particularly competitive. It's not an exhaustive list, but it is a list. Advanced manufacturing, in particular automotive, and of course your national chairman for EEPC, Mr. Chadha, would know a lot about that and recognize that sector. Agri-food, food processing. Canada is one of the largest exporters of agri-food products in the world. Over the last 3 years, our exports have averaged $40 billion, which has roughly doubled in the last 15 years. And so, again, a reflection of our relatively small population and developed economy, which has world-class processing, handling, storage technologies in this area. Clean technologies are one of the 4 sectors that we, the Government of Canada, are focusing on here in India. The other 3 are ICT, education, and transportation infrastructure. The area of clean technology was the focus of a mission by Premier McGuinty of Ontario here a year and a half back, and has been the focus of a number of other visits since that time. It's an area where Canada has much to offer India, both in the form of exports of goods and services and technology, and also in terms of collaborations and potential for investment in Canada in those areas by Indian investors. ICT, as I said, another area of focus for us here in India, and also one of a particular Canadian expertise in digital media, animation, and the other areas here listed: software, wireless communications. Life sciences, again, biopharma, medical devices, to cite a couple of examples. Services, business services, financial services. We have, again, quite a fair presence here in India in terms of financial services, in terms of insurance in particular, and inward investment increasingly in terms of infrastructure and other projects, investment projects here in India. Education, infrastructure. I'll just mention education for a second here because it's again one of our focus areas. And the interesting thing about education, and we're talking in this context post-secondary education, is that it really transcends all of the sectors because it involves teaching, it involves faculty exchange, student exchange, it involves student recruitment to a certain extent by Canadian universities and colleges, but it also involves research and collaborative research between Canadian and Indian institutions, and that research finds its way into products and processes everywhere in all kinds of sectors, just as the faculty exchanges reflect many different faculties and subjects. And so we find that education is an extremely important and fertile area for us to be focusing on because the dividends in terms of the deepening and the bilateral commercial relationship continue to happen and be a byproduct directly and indirectly of the efforts in education. So again, architectural and engineering and construction services to round out the picture, rail and urban transit systems,